Now, I've drove past this place literally hundreds of times on my way to Matlock and places. The A6 is the main road through, really, and never stopped. So I thought I ought to stop and have a look, and it's mint. Now, Whatstandwel is a village along the banks of the River Derwent in the Amber Valley, which is part of the district of Derbyshire. And it's about 5 miles from Matlock. Well, the railway station where I parked is on the E6 trunk road, and it crosses the River Derwent in the village. Well, the origins of the name Whatstandwell seem to be that it was named after a Walter stone wall around the time when the bridge was built in 1391. Now, Walt, as he was called, Walt Stonewall, had a cottage where the bridge was constructed, and before the building of the bridge, a ford crossed the river at that point. And standing where the A6 crosses the river, it's now called the Family Tree Hotel. And for years, so since I was young, it was called the Derwent Hotel. And formerly it was a coaching inn known as the Bull's Head, but busy in these days for petrol-driven customers like walkers, fishermen, holiday makers from the nearby caravan parks. And the village now extends well beyond the river bridge, its little cottages merging quietly into the background of the woods along the road. Oh, and incidentally, this is the road that Florence Nightingale used to take on her 2-mile walk to her home at Lea Hurst, just up the road, after leaving the coach at Whatstandwel. I didn't know she was from Derbyshire. In the 1880s, Florence Nightingale and a Dr. Dunn from Crich wanted to establish a coffee house at Whatstandwel. In 1884, the coffee house and reading rooms were prospering. It had a library of over 1,000 books, apparently. One of the reasons I came to look here was to have a look at Duke's Quarry. Apparently there's been some parties up here, something, and because they're so secluded, nobody knows. And it's supposed to be good for wild camping, so I thought I'd come and have a look. And the quarry was owned by the Sim family, who were great benefactors to the community. And stone from the quarry was used to build many of the houses and chapels in the area. And I read a report that in 1897 a large landslip occurred at the quarry, which caused a significant problem for the road, obviously, canals and the railways. This was widely reported, and thousands of visitors descended on the area to see the devastation, like people do. And the quarry was originally worked to provide stone for Sir George Stephenson's development of the railways. Apparently this area has a cluster of old stone quarries at Oxhay Wood, which started to be worked around 200 years ago. Most are now overgrown, being reclaimed by nature, apart from Middle Hall Quarry, which is still working. And many of these quarries, the sandstone quarries, including Duke's, also provided crushed sand for mortars and concrete as like a byproduct for the building trade. Yeah, as you're walking around, you can see signs of the old industry that have been abandoned and taken over by the wild. It's quiet and it's not lovely for dog walkers. Apparently it's still owned by the Duke of Devonshire, hence the name, the Duke's Quarry. Stone was used for building on the Chatsworth estate as well, with it having this distinctive pink coloration. And the quarry was also the location of a film which I watched when I was young, Stig of the Dump. Didn't know that. And over the other side of the canal there used to be a crane here and a small stream to the right which entered the canal by a small trap. And on this side of the towpath opposite is the runoff sluice and a more modern weir, and you can see it descending almost vertically some 30 feet, and it's within a stone lined shaft and tunnel. It passes under the canal, unnoticed by most walkers, and it flows into the Derwent. Cromford Canal, it used to run 14.5 miles from Cromford to the Erewash Canal in Derbyshire. The Erewash actually runs through my town, so got a connection there. And the connection of the Cromford Canal was completed in the late 1794, and it was to improve the movement of heavy goods in and out of Cromford for Sir Richard Arkwright, who had the big mills up there. And Sir Richard Arkwright was very instrumental in the decision making of the construction of the canal. And as I say, it linked up with the Erewash Canal at Langley Mill, which ran into the River Trent, like I say, where I live. This provided a connection with Derby and Nottingham, and beyond which lay Liverpool, Manchester, the Trent and Mersey Canal, so it was quite important. It's also claimed that nowhere else in England do the four methods of transport, road, rail, river and canal, run so closely together as they do here. Now the towpath is very walkable from Cromford to Ambergate, and it's a distance about 5.5 miles. Been well looked after and maintained, and it's been well managed as a local nature reserve by Derbyshire Wildlife Trust. Now, little challenges for anybody who's interested. Between Christmas New Year, I want to go up Derbyshire, up Peak District somewhere. I can't decide where. So, anybody got any ideas? And if you get a few suggestions, I'll put it to a vote or something. Anywhere they want to see me go and do a bit of research on and what have you.